Rated M for mature.
Welcome to another episode of Playing Dead. I'm your host, AJ Locascio. Today we'll be talking to lead developers on Episode 3, Eric Parsons and Harrison Pink, on why exactly there was just so much death in this episode. You don't want to miss it right here on Playing Dead. All right, Harrison, Eric, thank you for being here today.
Definitely. Good to be here.
So, Harrison, let's start off with what exactly do you do on this game?
So I was the designer for Episode 3. I was in the story room coming up with the story with people, but mostly just designing the interactions for Episode 3.
So that means you're responsible for the actual,
Yeah, what people are sort of doing, clicking the controller, and what the game actually asks you to do. That was me.
Okay. All right. And Eric, you were the cinematic director?
Director for the episode, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm responsible for the presentation of the game, and so I get to work with all the different departments and kind of explain to them what we're trying to do with all the aspects of the game and help bring it all to life.
So there was so much death in this episode. Just everyone was dying. Can you go into, were you guys worried about offing too many characters? What made you decide this is the one, let's kill everything?
I don't think we ever decided this is the one, let's kill off everything.
Well, we have a dartboard, and
Oh, okay.
Battlestar Galactica style.
But Katya and Duck and that whole thing, I mean, that was fucked up.
I think it's the middle episode of the season, and that was the place where certain characters' arcs begin and end, and it was definitely something that we thought of from the very beginning. The leads of the season knew the whole story from the beginning to end before even episode 1 was ready to go. So we knew sort of, all right, middle of the season, this is kind of where everyone's character is going to go.
All right, so one of the biggest events in this episode was Carly's death. I mean, that was a hell of a moment. I mean, obviously Doug,
Doug.
I love Doug. I chose Doug, but Carly got a huge, she got a huge fan reaction too. And we actually have a YouTube video of fan reactions, which we're gonna roll to now.
You think you're some tough bitch, don't you? Like nothing can hurt you. But you're just a scared little girl.
What the fuck's the problem? Ooh! Ah! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck?
Are you fucking shitting me?
Oh, fuck!
No fucking way!
Dumb bitch.
Oh no, and Clem's seen it, you fucking bitch.
She couldn't be trusted, Lee. I swear.
You're not coming with us.
You're not coming with us.
Jeez.
Oh boy.
Yep.
We kind of knew that was the reaction that was going to happen. I mean, we thought it would happen for both characters, but it's obviously Carly was a fan favorite character.
Why do you guys think this is? What was it about Carly that made her so, I don't know, had such a huge reaction from people?
Well, I think part of it is the nature in which she died. It was a very sudden, just, she's gone.
Right.
Any situation like that, it's going to be a shocking response. But she's also a character that the players had a chance to connect with more than some of the others.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've allowed the player as Lee to sort of bond with Carly in a different way than you've bonded with a lot of the other characters. I mean, she knows your past.
So Lily's out of the group now. We have that whole, she was a huge part of the dynamic. What does this mean for the group now that she's gone?
Coming into episode 3, the kind of leadership dynamic was primarily a conflict between Lily and Kenny, and most of the decisions came from the two of them, often with some conflict over who was actually right. But so obviously now Lily is out of the picture, and Kenny's around, but he's not quite the same man he was. Not the same man he was at the start of episode 3. So he's not really in shape to be making decisions anymore. In that kind of leadership vacuum, Lee has been forced to step into it a little bit more, and we'll see that later in the season.
So we talked about this before. Duck's death was it was kind of like Larry's death to me in a way, because you kind of hated Duck. I personally was like, oh, I can't wait for him to get eaten or die in some way. And same thing with Larry. I was like, oh, screw this guy. And but yeah, when it happened, we developed a bit more of a relationship with him because you guys did that damn Batman thing in the beginning where he's like, I could be Robin, you could be that. I was like, you son of a bitch. Like, you pulled at my heartstrings. That was all it took, was a Batman reference in order for me to just be like,
Well, I'm glad that's all it took.
Well, he didn't say anything. He was completely on the back burner
Yeah.
until he shows up and he's like, I like Batman. I'm like, oh, me too, kid.
So what? Oh, we're best friends.
Pat.
I can
Oh,
feel
this
you
is
guys.
bad.
Yeah, I can feel you guys like twirling your mustaches.
It ended up looking like we were doing a lot of mustache twirling, but
You were.
I promise you that we didn't really start it off as okay, let's just make Duck as likable as hell because he's going out this episode.
Obviously, Kenny's on a bit of a downward spiral here. He's pretty much lost everything. I mean, he has lost everything. The guy's got nothing left but his life. Where do you guys see Kenny? Like, what's his plan?
He was so family oriented. Like all he cared about every time he talked to him, be like, "Gotta get Duck out of here. Gotta get Katya out of
Yeah,
here. My
that was
family,
it.
my family, my family." And so that sort of transitioned to family to Savannah. Get on boat. Family on Savannah. Boat equals safety. And so now that his family's gone, like even for the rest of the episode, and on the train in the epilogue of episode 3, he's like, "We're going to Savannah. It's all we got left. It's the plan. Still boat. Still plan."
So after all this death, we've got 3 new characters. We've got Chuck, Omid, and Krista. What can you tell us about these people?
Well, I think at this point in the story, I imagine some players might have some trust issues. With,
I do.
That's a way to put it lightly.
Yeah, I don't trust these people. As a hobo, I don't trust him.
What? In episode 2, when people show up, Lily's like, "How dare you bring people into this group? Like, how dare you people just can't just join our group." And then in episode 3, now that Lily's just gone, you're like, "Yeah, join our group, no big deal." And
open door policy.
Yeah, and like Lily, I understand why people are like, she's kind of a bitch about that, but she's also just trying to protect the group. So now that she's gone, you're just like, "Come on, hobo, come on, weird couple from California." Like, is that
Plenty of room in this boxcar.
Yeah, like, is that smart? I don't know.
It was important to us to give you other characters to interact with because you learn a lot about Lee and about Clementine, who are obviously the focus of the story, through how they interact with other characters and even through the dialogue choices that you as the player make.
So I've got the latest stats here. So, shoot the girl on the street, 60% of people shot her, and 40% did not. I didn't, because I figured it was better for me not to shoot her.
I was actually surprised that most people did.
That's cold and heartless of you.
Yeah, it was like, she's distracting them. I'm not going to bring their attention over here. She'll be dead soon.
Yeah, there's no real way to save her, so it's either she dies this way or she dies this way. So it's pretty interesting that was pretty close to even.
Yeah. Abandoned Lily. This kind of shocks me because only 45% abandoned her and the other 55 brought her along. I was like, I'm sorry, you cannot come with us. This is... Like, I was a little worried she was going to, like, follow us and then, like, kill us in our sleep.
Hop onto the back of the van.
Yeah, that's
RV
what
with a hook. Yeah.
She could have done it. Lily's a badass. I don't know why
After
would
what you did, you're like...
Like, you just flat out murdered someone.
The majority of those 55% had a Carly playthrough, too. So even though they killed their BFF Carly, they were like, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Get back on.
You got that out of your system.
talk about
Sort
this
this
later.
out, yeah.
So in the part where if you took Lily with you and she exits the RV and she kind of asks Lee, like, to come with her, 11% said okay, 46% said no way, 41% said come on, Lily, and 2% just had silence, which is...
I was actually surprised that the 11% was as high as it was. I did not expect 11% of players to go, yeah, we'll just leave this group, forget it, whatever.
They'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll grab Clementine.
This kid's bet, you guys will sort it out.
I'm done with this, yeah.
Fight Kenny, 55% of people fought him and 45% did not fight him.
So a few people were able to talk him down without
Right.
fighting him.
But I hear there's an Easter egg somewhere in the Fighting Kenny.
0.5% of people have seen what we lovingly call Duckageddon.
Duckpocalypse.
Duckpocalypse.
Please.
My mistake.
Get this right.
What happens is if you sort of prod Kenny and he gets out of his seat and gets really mad, and then you just say nothing and you just shut down, he will actually shove you out of the cab. And you go, oh, okay, and you go back to the boxcar. And in that amount of time, since you took so long, Duck is actually turned into a zombie, and a bunch of people, there's blood all over the ground. You don't really know what happened. Clementine's hat's on the ground. And Lee turns around, and Duck zombie actually, like, pounces on him, and they both fall out of the train.
I can't believe this, honestly. Like, you some cold-hearted bastards. 81% of people shot him. Like, and the other percent did not. So 19% didn't shoot him. My thought process on that was, it's his son. I'm not just going to be like, I'll shoot you, kid. That was kind of... Yeah. It's messed up. So this is how many people offered to help find Clementine's parents when they're on the train talking about what they're going to do when they get to Savannah. 50% of people said we should look for your parents. 8% said we should go our own way. 38% of people said we need to find a boat. And 4% just had silence.
I've heard that from people that earlier in the season I never chose silence, but this episode there were times I was like, I don't know what to say, and genuinely were starting to choose silence as just because they were dumbfounded by the choices in front of them.
Which is awesome.
So what can the characters expect to find in Savannah?
So at this point in the story, we've obviously seen how our group has managed to survive. So getting into Savannah, we'll get to see how some other groups have tried to maintain a sense of society or just what they're doing to survive.
So our friend Noah asks, since you guys keep track of the players' decisions, would the decisions that has been chosen the most be considered what Lee would have actually done, like, in canon?
Like, there's no one that's like, okay, this is the canon Lee response. You know, all of the things that we let Lee do or say, and like in the choices stuff, are things that Lee would really do if he was really there. So I would say that no, we're not sort of, okay, this is like in the true storyline of The Walking Dead, because there's no true storyline. Everybody's storyline is tailored to them. So not particularly.
Manchu Dog says, I've seen a lot of people say that killing Carly or Doug, you made their choice to save one or the other worthless, and I agree. Why build up a character so much and hint at a strong storyline only to kill them? What are your thoughts on that?
That scene was all about powerlessness. That you can make these choices, you know, and we want, you know, that's how the comic is. And I think that just because their arc ends doesn't mean that choice is invalid. You know, people come and go in The Walking Dead all the time, but it really, what you sort of do in the time that you have together is really the point of the story there.
That was very sweet. Steven asks, what has been the biggest challenge that Telltale has faced so far during the development of the game? That's
a tough question.
I was going to say, it's probably a lot of things.
I think that just living up to the expectations of the fans of the comic, the fans of the world, and making it feel like something that fits holistically into the sort of puzzle pieces that are already out there. It's just been every single day, and definitely Eric and I and everybody have just been like, okay, does this feel like something they would do in the comics?
Karen asks, will there be a way to weaponize Clementine's hat? Something like Oddjob's Frisbee hat of death from the James Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun.
Spoilers, season 2. No, I have no idea.
That's been in there the whole time. Nobody's...
Oh, no one told me that.
You guys haven't
Can you
found
just
that?
plow through the game using Clementine's hat? So thank you guys so much for being here today and talking to us about The Walking Dead. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
What the fuck's the problem? What?